Every second you are being watched. Every click, search, like, they know. Companies know. But what's the big deal? In fact, 40.3% of Jackson's sophomore class, of a survey done with 72 people, said they don't care about having their internet privacy.
As the controversy goes, one side says having no privacy online doesn't affect users. Plus, businesses get loads of money from collecting data. But the other side says privacy practices now are an invasion of our privacy rights and can affect our safety, leading to one of the most modern debates right now. In order to gain more privacy online, internet users should avoid releasing personal information online, avoid clicking on advertisements, download AdBlock, and possibly buy Google's Advanced Protection Program.
Right now, the United States doesn't have many laws protecting our privacy, especially on the internet. The Federal Trade Commission is in control of consumer privacy, but their main purpose isn't for you. The Federal Trade Commission was created for fair competition in the marketplace, and then to protect consumers. If you search, "Why was the Federal Trade Commission made?" in Google, the first answer that pops up is, "Purpose was to prevent unfair methods of competition in commerce," and that is from their own website. Having a government agency whose main priority isn't US citizens doesn't seem to be in our favor. The point is, trusting governments with our internet privacy is risky. If you also trust companies online or don't care enough about what they do, you're not the only one. As most people know, every time someone downloads an app, he or she has to read and accept the terms of agreement. But do you really read it? Do you go through thousands of words? Do you know what they're trying to state? The terms of agreement is time-consuming and confusing to read. Despite that, it has valuable information about your privacy. Inside the terms of agreement, most state the privacy policy. What is a privacy policy? A privacy policy is the legal law about how much information a company wants to collect, sell, use, or store from you. So every time you hit accept, you just let companies know everything about you. They can know small things like your favorite color, or bigger things like your religion, where you live, your hobbies, your eye color, etc. But saying no to the terms of agreement means you can't use the app. Although we're not asking you to stop using the internet, but when you use that app or website, we want you to be careful. The internet is also not a place to trust, and we want internet users to know exactly what can happen to them.
Nowadays, almost everyone uses the internet, especially Google. With all of Google's great accomplishments, there is always the downside. According to a professor, search engines such as Google permit consumers to find out significant information about others. There's the possibility that this type of search can lead to cyberstalking and the uncovering of information that others might not want known by NEF. A great example of this is the website www.mylife.com. Here, you can search a name and anyone with that name will appear. Then you can click and pick who you're looking for, and tons of information about their personal life will appear. Information that should not be on the internet. Ironically, the website lists, "I will not use this information to stalk anyone." But there's no actual way for it to prevent stalking. It seems as the only way to prevent stalking is if the site was removed or if the internet users had more privacy, this information wouldn't be released. Stalking someone using their online information actually happened too. Donnell Dixon, a mom of 3 boys, a woman who said she always hated the internet solely because of the privacy issues, came to realize she had a stalker who took a picture of her oldest son right in front of her own home. Would you want that happening to you? Imagine how worse it could have been. If companies use what you'll search or like, then they can sell or put this information online. Therefore, for your own safety, having more internet privacy is a good idea. There's also another huge scandal when it comes to the internet: targeted advertising. Targeted advertising is one of the most common ways companies will get you to buy something. Targeted advertising is when someone searches a phrase or word and then that information is sold to companies so they can directly suggest products for him or her to buy based on what he or she looked up. Has this ever happened to you? Did you just brush it aside? Targeted advertising sometimes can do harm. For example, a girl who has an eating disorder searches up dieting plans on Google. Ads for weight loss would pop up and target the girl, which lower her self-esteem and her health. Furthermore, EU marketers target mostly young adolescents, which makes them extremely vulnerable because the younger someone is, the less careful they are. The more you click on their ads, the more companies know more about you. Although vulnerable, kids on the internet are somewhat projected, Congress passed COPA, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, which requests that websites targeting children must seek verifiable parental consent for information collection from children under the age of 13. Bayun. A nice start, but admit it, at one point you have wrongly stated and lied saying you were over the age of 13. It is no secret that there are millions of kids under the age of 13 on Facebook. By Chapo. This method of relying on children to tell truth clearly doesn't work, and it is deemed unfair to children who believe they have no way of avoiding advertisements.
Moreover, the internet cannot save you. No matter how safe you think you are hiding behind a screen, someone could be watching, and we're talking about hackers. Hackers are dangerous. They crack into databases and destroy everything for personal benefit. In particular, the LexisNexis breach lawsuit. LexisNexis is a company known for helping lawyers in business while analyzing customers' online data. They collected driver's license, social security numbers, and medical records. Then in 2015, hackers breached into LexisNexis data and stole personal information from 310,000 customers. The hackers released the information and made hundreds of credit reports stealing U.S. citizens' identity, an act which is very hard to undo. They decided to store their customers' information. The lawsuit costed them customers, ruining the image of their company. Don't worry though, there are ways to avoid this. To put it briefly, advertising in the internet will never go away. Internet usage will increase in the future with newer technology. Internet privacy protection may increase in the future, but targeted advertising, hackers, and companies will counteract it. However, there are still ways for you to protect your privacy, like purchasing the Google Advanced Protection Program key, which safeguards the ownership of personal Google accounts from getting attacked. A fingerprint device instead of a password could prevent you from getting phished. Phishing is a common technique that is used to trick you into giving your password and username. For protection, you can purchase it for $45. I know that may seem like a substantial amount of money, but it is worth the buy. In addition, a very easy way to avoid targeted advertising is using AdBlock, an extension that hides any ad you will see. Users rated AdBlock 4.5 stars and said it was worth the buy. Another obvious tip is to be careful with what you say on the internet. The person you're talking to could be a dog. So next time you go on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Spotify, etc., don't release personal information, keep away from scams, and don't click on advertisements. Following these steps one day might help us be more like Canada or the UK, where their privacy laws are much more safer. I mean, we're already on the move.
It was my mistake.
Mark Zuckerberg, the creator of Facebook, has been sued multiple times over having access to camera, calendar, contact, location, microphone, phone, SMS, storage, and many others, which he finally agreed to change Facebook policies to ensure consumer privacy. The world is full of surprises.